This whole situation is weird. Is it weird? Is that what I want to say? Because I'm interested in it, and I'm usually not interested in things that are weird. Is that the wrong word? So hear me out. White House card's got to be the biggest fight. Can't be Jon Jones. He's a flake. Jon really wants on the card. Jon did something that was deemed underhanded in his negotiations with Aspinall. This gets made public. Jon apologizes. He went to Dana White in a text message. This is Dana speaking to our good friend, Jim Rome, who, by the way, owes me a phone call. And Dana said, hey, you know, I let it be known that I didn't like how this whole thing went down with Aspinall. I thought that we had an agreement. I'm not cool with that. And Jon came to him and apologized. So I'm sorry how this whole thing went down with Tom. And that goes a long way. I mean, I follow the golden rule in life, but put myself in somebody else's shoes. If I'm in Dana's shoes and I get this apology from Jon, like that goes a long ways. It doesn't heal everything, and it would kind of matter what was said. But it's something. It means something. And within this same conversation comes the discussion of the White House card. And it gets brought up that Conor McGregor would be the go-to guy. Now, one of the reasons that's interesting is that exact same question was asked 1 month ago. And the response was Jon Jones versus Aspinall. But Dan also made it very clear, hey guys, this card, this is next year. We know very little about it. We haven't done the walkthrough yet. We just know from the president that he wants the card, and we're going to bring it to him. But I mean, just by example, the card was always going to be the July 4th card. Well, now it's not on July 4th, so it's been renamed the White House card. I mean, I'm just sharing with you, but that's how little is known about this. And I do get a little bit perplexed. What does the location of the card have to do with the star power of the card? And I think I'll leave my wording at that. But what does one have to do with the other? Fight capital of the world is Las Vegas. California and Texas would love to argue with that. The first time they played MSG, they did bring Conor, and they did bring him because he was the biggest attraction. But that doesn't make New York the fight capital. However, it ended up doing a $17.2 million gate. So you tell me now. UFC 300. Jamal Hill versus Pereira. UFC 200, which at that time was to be the biggest card of all time, was Amanda Nunes and Miesha Tate. And I'm just sharing. I get a little bit confused. What does the location of the card have to do with the power of the card? And so when the comment was made of going with Conor McGregor, it was also with a tremendous compliment. Tremendous compliment Dana gave Conor, which was to say, man, I can count on him. I can count on him. If I got to deal with him and thing changes and things go awry, and they always do, he will do what he says, which is compete at the agreed upon weight class for the agreed upon price with whoever in the hell it ends up being. That's a big deal. Big deal, particularly for your top draw. Right? If the 700 plus athletes under contract, they're all hearing it and going, that's a compliment. I would do any of that tonight. But it does change with your top draws. They get a little bit more difficult. And if you change a part of the deal, then they see it as their right to change their part of the deal, which of course just means they more money, right? So it's a very big compliment that Dana paid this to Conor, because that's not what's been presented to us. Was it a year ago? Was it International Fight Weekend of 1 year ago that Conor pulled out of the main event? Subsequently, or prior to, pulled out of a press conference which was in his backyard of Ireland supporting the event, and he pulled out for a discolored pinky toe, which may or may not be broken and may or may not be his. Conor wasn't serious about that, by the way. That was a rib, I believe. rib means industry term for a joke. When he put out the pinky toe with himself not included and pulled out of a fight. After the last time we had seen him in the octagon, he's got a fractured leg, and he finishes, right? He makes Joe Rogan get on the ground and conduct his interview because he's such a professional that he is going to play this till the final credit, and that's that same guy can't make the walk because of a pinky toe. I don't believe that Conor was serious. I don't believe that he ever meant it. I believe that you MMA media are so scared of Conor McGregor in a want-to interview that you're never going to get, that you ran with a story that he didn't mean to be serious in the first place. But either way, we don't know why he pulled out of a fight. We just know that fight didn't happen and it never got rebooked. And according to Conor, he wanted it rebooked and he wanted to return and he wasn't getting his phone calls returned. I mean, that's straight from Conor. That's straight from a master promoter that would never show his weakness. He's openly, I mean, he's like Suleiman over here with the boxing guy that wants to put the belt on him going, hey, I'm the president, I can't get a return phone call. It's not something that Conor would do if it wasn't accurate. So it would have certainly looked like the retirement of Conor McGregor. And this compliment being said to Jim Rome, this is a very big deal. That is a very nice thing to say about him. But there would be no belt. So you're going to tell me because of the placement of a card that we're going to bring in a certain star power, of which Conor is still the guy. That's not debated, but within the placement of the card, and because it's so big, but it's not going to get a title fight. I'm just getting a little confused on the whole thing. And I also don't see the draw ability where somebody in Jim Rome's position, which is a very high, this is one of the great sportscasters of all time. What the hell is he asking about the White House card for? In all fairness. And are you following the sport so small that you don't know Noche is in one day? Are you following the sort of sport so smally that you don't realize Noche is going to go head to head with Crawford and Canelo? The company is fighting with itself. Do you not see how incredibly interesting that is? That question has never come up, not once. They're talking about a card that has a makeshift date at a venue that doesn't exist on the White House lawn, which, by the way, is very cool, but apparently is not going to contain a title fight. I don't get it. Why does the location of the card help me understand?